Happy Thursday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. The following is the live call-in show from Monday night, February 10th, 2025. During the show, I was flying solo because Scott was literally flying home from his Disney cruise over the weekend. But during the show, we had lots of calls, so tons of fun. We talked about Luke Skywalker coming to Batuu, but only on the West Coast. Also, there's an article going around the social media about the cost of Disney vacations. Then Disney came back and answered with ways to save money on those Disney vacations. We had some great discussions about value and pricing with your trips to the Disney parks and resorts and stuff like that. Lots of good conversation around that. And we get a great trip report from out in Utah about the Disneyland Half Marathon. This and more coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, today's podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. Just click through our link. It's one extra click and it supports us throughout the year. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. We could not do this without your support. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee a month, and you keep us on the air. For that support, you get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Come over and support us this week. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP open line for Monday night, February 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Mike Rallman, one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday night to you post Super Bowl. That's right. We pushed it back 24 hours because, well, we thought you might be watching a little bit of football last night. And, we know our limits. We knew that nobody'd be tuned in on that big Sunday night, so it's the day after. Jalen Hurts, an hour ago, he was riding row 2 on Tron. He has already paraded down Main Street, USA, Mickey Mouse shotgun next to him on the float. He's living his best Disney life. If you are an Eagles fan, you are living your best life today. And if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, hey, you had a good season. You've won 2 straight Super Bowls before this. You can't complain. Everybody should be pretty happy today. And if you're a baseball fan, spring training down in Florida, Arizona, it's happening. And if you're a Disney fan, it's 365 24/7. So let's talk Disney for the next hour. And I am so glad to be back. I know that we missed a couple of live shows because, of course, I was at Disneyland. I thought we were going to miss a live show this week, but guess what? We're here. I didn't want to do this. I love talking Disney. And this week's shows, we had to shuffle them around because, of course, you know that Scott was sailing the Disney Wish last weekend. He got to go out there with his in-laws, Emily and Elizabeth. They had a good time. He's currently in the air flying back to Michigan as we speak, as we're recording this show. Ricky, currently on the Disney Fantasy. I think she was at Lighthouse Point today as I was looking on Find My Friends. Living her best life out there. Pam Forrester, we're the Four Amigos. She is in the air right now going down to Walt Disney World for the first trip she's taken in months and months. She's going to meet with Disney tomorrow. So we have actually already recorded the Wednesday and Friday podcasts. We did that on Super Bowl Sunday in the afternoon. So we have shuffled the schedules big time this week. That's why Monday night opened up for a live call-in show, which if you're listening to this on the feed on Thursday, you're just like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You're hearing all these days. This all happened in the past. But if you're listening on Thursday, happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great week and you've already made it almost to the weekend again. But I'm just glad you're here and I'm glad we can talk Disney. So over the next hour, we'll be taking your calls at 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. It's just going to be me and you. So I will need your calls. And I have a few topics I'm going to bring to the table. But first, I want to go back to what we used to do over the past little bit and have a password, a gateway question when you call in. Now, of course, Friday, the big day, it's Valentine's Day. The day for romance around the planet, right? And so my gateway question for everybody, I want you to get creative because you're going to have to justify this not only to me, but to our tens of thousands of listeners who will be tuned into this over the next few weeks. Which counter service restaurant is the most romantic at a Disney theme park, domestic Disney theme parks? Let's go Disneyland or Walt Disney World, and why? Which counter service restaurant, because it's going to require you to think outside the box, which counter service restaurant is the most romantic of Disneyland or Walt Disney World, and why? Okay, so that's the gateway question. That gets you in. We'll have a quick little discussion. There's no right or wrong answer as long as you justify it, and then we'll move on. A couple of topics I want to bring to the table here to talk about possibly. You can talk about anything you want. If you were at the Disneyland Half Marathon weekend, we haven't talked about that yet. What did you think? Did you like the new courses? What did you think about the menus? Or the menus? Why am I thinking about menus? I'm already stuck on the question about the romance because Rob's in the chat saying there are none as far as romantic counter service restaurants. No, see, there are. You have to think outside the box. I used to teach gifted education, and this was the kind of stuff I would give my kids. Potentially, there's no romance in counter service restaurants, right? But think about it. Around my neck of the woods, White Castle becomes the most coveted place to go on Valentine's Day. White Castle. Now, I don't know if you have White Castle where you live. I know in the South they have Crystal. They're little slider burgers. They're like belly bombers. They blow up your stomach. They're terrible. They taste great, but they give you like heartburn. They give you stomach aches. They're cheap little hamburgers that they just tear you up. So that's the least romantic thing you could think about for Valentine's Day, right? You go in there, you get these cheap little hamburgers and onion rings. Gross. But on Valentine's Day, in my neck of the woods, White Castle puts tablecloths on their tables. They put candles, and you can make a reservation. And all of a sudden, it's become the greatest thing over the past 10, 15 years to go to White Castle. So you got to think outside the box. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So that is one. So that's the gateway question. Now, hang on. We got some calls coming in. Hang on. Let me get to my two topics I want to bring to the table. Okay. First of all, it was announced today as we're recording on Monday, Luke Skywalker, kind of a timeline with Luke Skywalker is going to come to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland during the season of the Force here in the spring. It says that season of the Force ends on May 11th out of Batuu at Disneyland, but they say that Luke might continue to linger after May 11th in Batuu out at Disneyland. They're going to have a special projection on the spires during the fireworks at Disneyland. What do you think about that? Bringing Luke Skywalker finally to Batuu, to Galaxy's Edge out at Disneyland. Now, they're not doing this at World. I found that interesting because they're kind of clones of each other. So Luke Skywalker coming to Disneyland's Batuu, because a lot of people have been saying, do we have to stick to this one particular, timeline or what have you? Because I'm not a movie person, but I know there's only certain characters that can be there. But then all of a sudden they had the Mandalorian, they had Grogu. But I think a lot of people of my generation, we grew up with A New Hope. We grew up with Empire Strikes Back. We grew up with Return of the Jedi. When I saw this news, I got super excited because that's definitely of the Star Wars that I love. Like, if I'm going to watch any Star Wars movie, it's going to be episode 4, 5, or 6. Always first. And then 1, 2, and 3, 7, 8, 9. It's always those movies, but it's always A New Hope, Empire, or Return of the Jedi. And then I'll watch the prequels and 7, 8, 9 if I have to. But bringing him in, I don't see where it hurts anything, but I wonder how you feel about that. Does it lessen the land? How do you feel about that? Also, there was an article that came out this past couple of days, I think over the weekend, about Disney and the prices of how Disney is kind of pricing out the middle class on their vacations. We all know that Disney is an expensive destination. We get it. It is. The rooms per night, expensive. The theme park tickets are expensive, but I think a lot of us as Disney fans, we forego other things in our life to make these vacations happen, right? We sacrifice other things. It's just, it's how you spend it's where you put I look at it as like, we all have buckets in our life, and it's how you put your money in your buckets, right? I don't golf. I don't drink. there's a lot of things that I do spend a lot of money on Taco Bell. I do spend a lot of money on Coke Zero. I probably shouldn't do that. I mean, I'm not saying like I do the right things, but I spend my money on Disney, and, I spend my money on, that's where my buckets, my money goes in those buckets. And we all have our different things, right? And everybody, because it's what makes you happy. Like if I had the time to play golf, I'd put a lot of money in the golf bucket if I could. But there was this article about how, Disney and their prices and stuff. And I saw that Disney responded to that today by coming out with many, many ways with how you can save money on Disney vacations. First, they started with all the discounts they have out, like their free dining offer right now, some room discounts. In other ways, you can save money on a Disney vacation, especially as a family. So I just wonder, like, when you see stuff like this, how do you, as a Disney fan, what do you think? Like, is it too expensive? I have a different perspective. I don't mind spending the money more as I want to get a bigger value out of it. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So I just want to hold back on that first and then kind of get at it here shortly. All right. First call of the night. I think it's from down in Florida. Vero Mike, you on the line? Hello.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. What's going on? So first gateway question.
Just listen to the show and thought I'd call in and talk a little Disney.
I appreciate it. So, okay, now you got to think outside the box. The most romantic counter service restaurant at Disney Park.
All right, I think it's La Crêperie in France.
See, look at that. You're an old softy. You're romantic.
The crepes right there with the music in the background, overlooking the Crescent Lake there, or not Crescent Lake? Yeah, Crescent Lake. Yeah, and the gondolas.
Yeah, you're right.
The Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, holy cow. Yeah, I mean,
it's France. It's romantic,
dude,
right?
It's almost baby making place to go. Yeah, holy cow, that's nice. That's good stuff.
For sure.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. That's perfect. Okay, good. So what you got on your mind? What, you don't have to talk about any of my topics. So what's on your mind?
No, your topics are great. I was, as far as Star Wars goes, I mean, we want the original Star Wars, episode 4, 5, 6. I mean, that was the original plan, was to do Tatooine, and then they scratched it when The Force Awakens was coming out. So they went for the new Star Wars stuff, which is, it's cool, but we want to see Vader and Luke and, Han and, all that stuff. So I think it's good. It's a good step, to give the old school fans, what we want.
I think the land can be flexible, right? I mean, Batuu opened in 2019, so it's been almost 6 years at this point. It'll be 6 years, I guess, in September. So I think it's all right, I don't think we have to be so rigid and say, we have to be set in this period. It's a theme park. It's an entertainment venue. And, what's that line? Give the public what they want. And I think that
they can make it flexible. They don't have to be just set in the new stuff with the Kylo Ren, and which it's cool, but I'd like to see the old stuff. And Luke was the best. That's what we grew up with.
And he spanned. He spans not only just 4, 5, and 6, but he was in 7, 8, 9, and his lore carries over to. Because again, I'm kind of old school. I didn't watch a lot of the Disney Plus like specials or any of the animated stuff, but just like that the bottom line is they're trying to get you to go on more vacations. And when I see something with Luke Skywalker, because I'll be honest, I've told this to a lot of people, I have never set foot in Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, and I've been to Disneyland 5 times. Because I've spent so much time there at Hollywood Studios, and it's an exact duplicate. The only time I've been in it's when I've exactly, and I've run through there during races. That's the only time I've been there, is running through there in the races on the West Coast, because my time is so precious out there that I don't want to do something I can do exactly the same in Florida when I have more time. But if but it's kind of smart if they're only doing that on the West Coast. Boom, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Now that's kind of smart by them because it's unique.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you watched the new Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus. It was actually pretty good. It was geared more towards kids, but it was actually a really well done show. So they can, put some of that stuff in as well. So yeah, it's whatever. I'm a Star Wars nerd, so I'm happy either way.
I am too. Here, I'll be honest. When Disney Plus raised their prices, I dropped Disney Plus. They priced me out. It was too.
We kept it. I always turn it on. I just, I watch all the old classics and, so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I would watch it every once in a while, but I watch so much sports. Like we have ESPN Plus.
Right.
And I'm always watching sports. So I'd watch it, like something here and there, but like, it's like they jump the price again. And I'm just like, man, I don't watch it enough. And I figure, if there's really something I want to watch, I'll maybe subscribe for like a month or two, or like a season or something, like maybe like 3 months or something. And I was always that person that said, I'm not going to be, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of tech podcasts, right? And it's like, oh, the new movement for the millennials is to, to just like subscribe for a month and binge everything and then turn it off. And I'm like, oh, that's so stupid. Like, that is, you're cheating. Like, you're supposed to subscribe forever, but now I'm like, maybe I'll do that, because it is, subscriptions are crazy, because, there's so many things. Yeah, it's crazy. But I'll check it out.
Speaking of ESPN, that would be cool if they put the ESPN zone bar and grill where Jelly Rolls is going.
Oh, stop.
That'd be a pretty cool move.
That'd be awesome. I wish we need more places to watch sports. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's just such a missed opportunity, because there's really, nowhere to go to watch, the games there like the old ESPN used to have,
Again, I think, I don't know. I think I'm terrible, because I love sports like it kind of disproportionately, because that's all I knew growing up. I was in a sports family, and I still am. And my daughter, that's what she does for a living. My other daughter's a cheerleader. It's like our family is all sports all the time, 24/7. So my perspective is way out of whack, but I totally believe that sports brings people together. And I saw it time after time after time at Walt Disney World. Like, I remember, I don't even care. Like, I don't like soccer. I know we have a lot of listeners that love soccer, football, but I watched the World Cup at ESPN Zone on the boardwalk with people.
Yeah, it's a blast.
And I also watched it at the Odyssey. They were showing it in the Odyssey, and it was so full. It was like 1 in, 1 out, because Paige was such a soccer fan at the time. And it was like the greatest thing in the history of the world, because you had people from all over the planet. And it was like, 2 countries that it was like, Peru versus Uruguay or something, but I was just in for the environment. And it was like the coolest thing I ever saw, because every cross, every pass, people were dying, and I was into it. I had no idea who the players were, but sports are just cool. And I think you need to celebrate that, but that was just me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're getting ready to do the Prince, I guess it's the fairy tale challenge in 10 days from now.
Oh, nice.
So this is my first challenge, the 10K and a half. So this is a big one for me. I've been training and, getting ready for it.
Getting that bonus medal. So what are you looking forward to the most over the weekend? It's usually good, knock on wood, but it's usually great weather over Princess. I hope you guys, because we've had 2 good weather race weekends in a row. Hope it continues.
Yeah. Today it was 82 degrees in Florida today. I was on the beach all day.
Dude, I'm looking at my forecast right now, because I got the news on sleet and snow mix. Yeah. Okay. You're winning.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful today. And we're staying at the Coronado for a couple nights. We got I don't even know how my wife I didn't even know she got it. So we got a couple nights at the Coronado, and we got 1 day in the park. So we're going to try and definitely see it. Tough to be a bug. It's going to be going away. So every time we go to Disney now, it seems like we're doing stuff that's going to be going away, It's
sad. I know. We're going to get some new stuff eventually, but I'm a nostalgic. Cool. I hate to see things leave.
Muppets, tough to be a bug. I want to do the Liberty Bell one more time before it's gone. I don't know when that's going to go, but I definitely want to do that one more time. The Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island,
My thing is too, take your medal and take pictures in front of the Liberty Bell. Take your picture, go over to Tom Sawyer Island. That's what I did with my marathon medals, because that definitely marks a time and place, right? Because it says right on it Dopey Challenge 2025, and I went and took a picture in front of the Liberty Bell, because I probably ain't gonna get a Dopey Challenge 2026 picture in front of the Liberty Bell. That's probably it.
No, it's wild.
I try to do things like that, just kind of, and I did it in front of Muppets too, because that's probably my last shot with that, and it's an accomplishment because it's your medal. What you got? You guys have a celebration meal, something you're looking forward to on that trip?
Nothing planned yet. We're probably just gonna go around the Festival of the Arts, just kind of eat around the world, and just we mainly do quick service, so.
That's good stuff. What's your favorite quick service restaurant?
Oh man, favorite quick service right now. My go-to is Japan. What's the name? The top floor one.
Yeah,
up on the hill.
Kitsari Grill or whatever.
Tempura Grill.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I love that place. It's so out of the way.
It was Regal Eagle for a long time, but now I just go up there for sushi. That's and it was Creperie for a while. Then it was Regal Eagle. And now it's Tempura Grill. So
it's like
it's pretty fluid,
That's good stuff. Any of those three, I'll take any day of the week. Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, hey, good luck on the races. If I don't talk to you, and I'm glad we've been friends for so many years. I appreciate your friendship.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna post some pics on Facebook, and have a blast. So best show ever, Mike.
I appreciate you, buddy, and drop into the Discord sometime. We'd love to have you over there, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, and say hi to Scotty G for me.
Hey, he's in the air. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll let him know. All right, take care of yourself.
All right, guys, take care. All right.
All right, bye-bye. All right, let's get to the next call. We got him on the board here, lined up. Next call. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, this is Andrew from Utah.
Andrew, out in Utah. How are things out west today?
We're doing good.
Good.
It's not snowing, but cold. But
I picture it always snows
okay.
in Utah. I picture, you guys have it out there all the time, and we get it sometimes. And down Vero Mike, I picture him eternally on the beach. So that's kind of the way I see the way I see the world. So real quick, the gateway question of the night: the most romantic counter service restaurant at a Disney theme park domestically. What do you got?
So I think you'll like this Rancho del Zocalo.
Oh, winner! Love it. It is. Okay.
So I know that you're a fan of it, but
Yes.
I will tell you, it's great. Not only does it have good food, it's great ambiance. I love being there next to Big Thunder Mountain.
Yes.
Frontierland. It's just a very great place for enjoying Frontierland, enjoying the sights, great Mexican food. I think it's romantic. My second choice would probably be Tropical Hideaway there in Adventureland at Disneyland. Kind of overlooking Jungle Cruise, get a Dole Whip, but I have to say Rancho del Zocalo.
Yeah, like it's sunset. Yeah, to like it. Yeah, on a nice night. Yeah, because I was there. Obviously, I was there a couple weeks ago for the races, and I had dinner there. It was a chilly night too, and they had those heat lamps. I didn't know they had so many heat lamps there either. Like they were over every table. And I told my wife, I said, it is just like, it's so nice in here because you're outside, and it was a chilly night, but it was nice and cozy under the heat lamp. And I was like, I'm so warm. I had to take off my hoodie, but you're right. And I said, can you hear all the people on Big Thunder right now? I'm just sitting here having Mexican food, or really good Mexican food. Listening to people on Big Thunder, watching people go by in Adventureland. I'm like, this is just the best thing ever. But the problem was I had my AirPods in. She's like, I can't hear anybody because of your noise canceling. I'm like, oh, you're missing all the ambiance. It's so perfect right now. But I will tell you one thing, and this broke my heart. Zocalo got rid of those cinnamon chips. They said they've been gone for like 6 months. And I said, you're kidding me. Those are my favorite snack of all time at Disneyland. And they're gone.
Yeah,
they just have the lemon lime.
Good.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
Oh, big mistake. Big mistake. So anyway, what's going on?
Hey, just calling. I've tried. I've wanted to call in on Sundays, but we always have a big family dinner around that time. So I just happened to be about to leave work, and I noticed you were live. So I thought, hey, I'll give it a shot. I've never called in before, done a trip report, but never called in. So I am glad I got through. But
awesome.
I just wanted to mention my two daughters ran. It was their first Disney race. They ran the Disneyland Half Marathon last weekend, and had a great time. Had a great experience. So it was fun. Kind of keeping track of your experiences on social media and on the Clubhouse, but it was their second. One of them was their second half marathon. The other was their third, but they had a blast. My wife went down, and they made it a girls trip, but they had a great time. So anyway, just hearing your reports of the experience made me want to call in and tell you that my girls were there and had a great experience as well.
So, first of all, congratulations to them, because that's a huge accomplishment that, obviously early in their running career, those, one of their first races, early. And what was the feedback they gave you as far as what they liked the most about the experience? Like, when they broke it down, maybe over the family meal, and they kind of debriefed you on it, what were you hearing about it?
So they had a great time. So I had done a Disneyland half marathon years ago, but hadn't done any Run Disney events at Disneyland. We did the Disney World, a few years ago and had a great experience. But this was their first Run Disney event, and they absolutely loved. We've grown up with Disneyland being our home park and a special place that they went to, at least once a year for the first 18, 20 years of their lives. And so for them to be able to, they kept mentioning over and over again, for them to experience Disneyland in that setting, being able to run through it at sunrise with, the sun peeking over the mountains with, through the this places that they've always had a special place in their heart for growing up. They're able to see in a completely different light, and being able to run through those parks, those first few miles of the race, and seeing them without crowds, but with cast members cheering them on and other runners. Just the whole running environment is so positive and uplifting. Everyone's cheering each other on, and it was such a great experience for them, and it just kind of lifted them. Obviously, after you leave the parks, it's a completely different experience as you're running through Anaheim. But still, I think Disney does a good job of putting in some bands and cheerleaders and other things that are unique and fun. They're used to running races in Utah or other places where, it's miles and miles and miles of really nothing,
Yes.
Beautiful scenery, but no one cheering you on until maybe the last half mile, right? But to have that kind of activity constantly, they loved it. They just came back and had such a great experience. And since they've been back, my wife's like, we need to plan for our whole family to go to Disney World and do marathon weekend, and all of us run at least the 5K, maybe the 10K. So it was fun for them.
Yes, absolutely. You should come to Marathon Weekend. It's a whole thing. It is so fun because the environment of how big it is, it's not intimidating. It is big, but it's not intimidating, and it's a hoot and a half. So yes, we need to see you down there this January, because I'm going to go again. I think I said I wasn't, but I probably am. It's because the weather was so good these last two race weekends. I was like, I'll do it one more time. Are you
gonna do the double dare again?
So maybe we'll see. It's still February. Okay, we got to slow down now. I'm not going to be any younger next year, but we'll see. I'm not committing to anything, but I'm probably going to do stuff. We'll see. I'll be there. But one thing you just mentioned that I appreciate so much, especially since you're from Utah, is that the girls said that they loved running with like the mountains and the sunrise and coming up over the mountains. Honestly, that was my favorite thing, but I thought it was just me because I'm from Missouri and we don't have mountains. And it was just, it's good for the soul. Like, seriously, I never get to see that. And as fun as it was running through the parks and, because I love running through Disneyland. You're running down Main Street, USA. Like, it's Disneyland. It's what Walt built. It was his vision. it was his park. And then DCA is just unbelievably gorgeous. And, we all know that, but you get out there and like, it's like two separate races. Like you said, when you're out in Anaheim, you have people cheering you on, but they really did a good job with the course where like from mile like 10 to 13, like where you're really, thinking, why'd I sign up for this? The last 3 miles of a half marathon stink, but at least it was like an out and back. So you got to see other people, and sometimes you saw friends and got to like get high fives from friends and stuff. And that helped a lot, but also seeing that sunrise over the mountains. Especially for somebody like me, but I'm glad your daughters appreciate it because you guys have mountains out there, but that was good for the soul. That gave me a good, push for at least a good half mile just to, because I was yelling to everybody around me, like, look at that sunrise over the mountains. Not too many people cared, but I did. Like, look at that guy.
Yeah.
He's a Hoosier.
It was great. I agree, Mike. And yeah, we do have mountains here in Utah, and we, they actually, one of their favorite runs is running. We have a canyon near our house, and they go to the top and run down the canyon to our house, and in some beautiful mountainous country. But I think what made it nice there was just, everything. You had the mountains, and there's a picture that they took at California Adventure, because they were in the last corral. They, for lots of reasons that I can't even explain why, but so they didn't start till like 50 minutes after the starting gun. So they were way behind, but they have a picture at California Adventure there on Paradise Pier with the sunrise coming up over Paradise Pier. That's it's just spectacular.
Yes.
It's amazing. And so they just, it was things like that, memories like that, just seeing, being there that early in the parks, and just having that setting and being in a familiar place, but in a completely different way, right? And they absolutely loved it. So, and I have to say this, Disney does a really great job with their events. The support staff, the volunteers, everything is just top notch. And so to be, you do spend a little more money for these races, but the way that they're supported and all the extra things that you enjoy for these races, it makes it worth it. So to us. So, but yeah, I think that hopefully one of these times we will make it. I don't think we'll make it down next year, but we'll let you know when we make it down to Disney World again to run the races, hopefully as a family. So.
That'd be great. I love meeting the families and love meeting our listeners. So definitely make it happen and tell your girls I said congratulations. And I appreciate you taking I'm glad we got to do. I mean, it was weird how the schedules all got mixed up because, Ricky's on a cruise, Scott was on a cruise, Pam's going to Florida for a meeting. She has one Tuesday. So, I had a Monday night open and of course there's no sports right now. I was like, Mizzou's not playing tonight. The football's over. What am I going to do? I'm doing an open line. So glad this worked out. So it's good to talk to you and tell those girls I said congratulations on those runs and hopefully we can run one together here soon. That'd be awesome.
For sure, Mike. Thanks. Have a great night.
You too. Take care out in Utah. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
All right. 407-413-9395. That's our phone number. And we have our next caller. And I believe it is Alfred on the line.
Bye-bye.
Alfred, what's going on?
Hey, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. What about yourself?
Oh, just hanging in there.
That's all we can do. It's February. That's just got to make it through to the spring. So, okay, real quick, romantic counter service restaurant. What do you got and why?
Gaston's Tavern.
That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah, especially because when you go in and you go to the right, that's like you're immersed into his actual tavern.
And cinnamon rolls that are like gigantic. Yes. My wife loves cinnamon rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so do I.
Yep.
God, I could go for one of those right now.
So I was trying to think, well, what else is there? And I'm like, this is the one.
So quick story. So I was out at Disneyland and I was rope dropping Fantasyland. Like I was in the park before the park opened. They stopped us at the hub, like right at the partner statue. And I'm texting Pam like something. I don't know. I was trying to tell her something. So they let us go. Some people go to Tomorrowland, some people go to Adventureland. I go through the castle. I'm going to Fantasyland. I always go to Fantasyland. Mm-hmm. So I'm still looking down, texting her, trying to figure out where I'm going. I'm going to go to Mr. Toad. I'm typing. I'm not paying attention. No kidding. I bumped right into Gaston because he cuts right across from me because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, texting. Gives me the evil eye. I'm like, my bad, Gaston. Didn't mean to bump into you. Because the characters are everywhere. They'd rope drop in Fantasyland at Disneyland. It was nuts. I thought I was going to have to fight Gaston. I was like, this is crazy. I'm 51 years old. He's
the one great thing about Disneyland is that the characters just roam around.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't expect to bump into Gaston when you're texting.
I think it was back in 2019, maybe. I was there, and all of a sudden, Belle and the Beast are on the carousel.
Yes.
Like,
I've seen Alice and the Mad Hatter. I've seen the Stepsisters. Yeah, the carousel seems to be like a hotbed in the morning for rides for the characters. And I think the guests eat that up. I do. I love it. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
It's like a commercial.
Me too. Yeah. I thought that was so cool.
Same.
So, yeah. I like the idea of them putting Luke Skywalker into Galaxy's Edge.
Nice.
I think it's really... It was supposed to be that way with the characters. So now that I think they're trying to add in more and more of that. So I hope they bring to Florida though too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe they're testing it in Disneyland, but they're smart if they just do it at one because it's going to force like all the Florida people to maybe plan a trip to Disneyland. I mean, if, marketing or, selling vacations, but you're right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And what was the other?
The other thing I was talking about, and I didn't get to finish it because the board started filling up with calls, was that article about Disney and their pricing and how they're kind of, people are saying it's getting too expensive. And then Disney came back with an article today as we're recording this on Monday, talking about how they have discounts, outlining all the discounts that are available, ways to save money on your vacations and stuff like that. And my counterpoint was going to be yes. And I talked about how I save in other ways and spend my money on Disney vacations, and I do understand that Disney vacations are premium and they are expensive. I get that. But what I would like to see, they're not bringing their prices down. iPhones are not going to get cheaper. It's just how things are. Cars are not going to get cheaper. The prices are going to be what they're going to be. But here's the thing. I looked at the prices of counter service meals at Disneyland because I ate all counter service when I was out there a couple weeks ago. Marathon weekend, I ate counter service the whole times. For the most part, the food is not much more expensive counter service than what I buy when I go down Mid-Rivers Mall Drive here at home. So the counter service is not really gouging you, as far as that kind of food. Now the sodas are crazy. When you pay $5 for a fountain drink, you just got to watch certain things are ridiculous. It's here and there, because if you buy 5 fountain sodas a day, that's crazy. So I get I always try to get Coke Zeros for the room and try to drink those when I can to offset the cost of soda. So there are ways to save money, but my biggest, thing is I wish, and I don't know that this won't happen. I doubt it would, but I wish they would rethink things and again, I'm probably dreaming, but bringing back a Magical Express, that added a lot of value to a vacation, because it's coming back up a little bit.
Also,
yeah. I don't know.
I heard those same things today with the discounts and all of that. And I'm they also mentioned how there's less crowding and all of this. And I'm wondering if that was the point of what Disney is doing, to try to cut back on the crowds.
I understand that, but if you raise the price and it does make the experience more premium when you're in the park if there's not as many people. But the thing is, the parks are still pretty busy. And because I'll tell you, I was at Disneyland, but for folks like us, and I'm talking about fans that know what they're getting into when they go to the Disney parks. And if you're listening to a Disney podcast, you likely know what you're getting into. There's a lot of first timers that listen to our show, but most of us have been at least a few times. Is that I can still get a ton of stuff done no matter how busy it is. You can put me in the park on New Year's Day. You can put me in the park on Christmas Day. I don't care. Because I know that if I go at rope drop and I know which lands to go to first, I know which parks to go to on what days. I know strategies where you can put me in the busiest park on the busiest day and I'll still get a lot done. So I think that's an argument for a different audience than our audience, but it is something. But again, they are also, it's incentivizing them to sell things like Lightning Lane, like premium Lightning Lane. That stuff is becoming more and more prevalent over the last year or two, which I don't buy into any of that. I say that, but I bought Lightning Lane every day of my Disneyland vacation because I just built it into the package. I do not buy Lightning Lane at World. So I don't know.
Right.
It's my choice.
Yeah. I just think that Disneyland is always really crowded because of the locals.
Which isn't a bad thing. And people say that like it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. It is what it is. It's a locals park. It's right in a neighborhood. Yeah. That's a positive thing. It's a very comfortable. I like it.
But I think that's also why maybe the prices are a little less at the counter service and things like that.
I agree. Yeah.
Because they know they're making the money on it.
And I think that's too why they have things like, I was thinking about that too. That's a good point, Alfred, is that I was thinking that's why they have like at Harbor Galley, you can buy like a 6-pack of chocolate chip cookies or like a 13-pack. And you see people walking around with like a little box of chocolate chip cookies. I think
Right.
that's the benefit of Disneyland being a locals park, right? Because locals come out on a
Mhm.
Friday afternoon. They're going to have their Friday night at
Yep.
the park with a box of chocolate chip cookies. I'm like, I love that vibe. That is the coolest.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that Disney World sees the error of their ways.
Well, the market always corrects
Mhm.
itself. I mean, if they're not getting the revenue, I mean, think about this. They got. I'm not a TV guy, but that article came out that Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers. So
Right.
that cannot continue indefinitely. So they'll have to figure something out
Mhm.
there. They'll either have to make the product better or lower the cost,
Mhm.
or something has.
Right.
You cannot do that for 5 quarters, 4 quarters in a row. You have to figure that out. And if the theme parks are making money, they're fine. But if they start to,
Right.
and it's an interesting time because Epic Universe comes online, in a few months, and will that
Mhm.
have an impact? Won't it? Will it be small? Will it be bigger than they expected? It's a super interesting time this summer. We'll find out how that all goes.
Yeah, I think it will be a huge impact. Um, but Disney has to figure it out. And I don't think just adding a few new rides and stuff like that is going to combat that.
I don't know. I
Especially
really don't
since
know
it takes
because
so long.
Epic Universe doesn't interest me in the least. But I am not
Mm.
that generation. I think the generation below me is excited about it because I never
Yeah.
had a Nintendo. So
Mhm.
I was a Commodore 64
Right.
guy. Now, if you build a Commodore 64 land, we'll be talking,
Yeah.
but that's not happening. So,
Yeah.
or Atari land.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not happening. I'm old.
Yeah.
That'd just be all that'd be like all people mover rides, and we don't need that. So that
Mhm.
just be like an old shopping
Right.
mall. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, good call, Alfred, and I'm glad to hear from you. It's been a bit, so I hope you have a great February, and we'll maybe talk to you Sunday night.
And, all right. Great.
All right.
Have
Take
a
care of
good
yourself,
night.
buddy. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, 407-413-9395. If you don't know, that is a vanity number. It's 407-413-WDW5. Yes, we did pay like an extra $5 for that, like I don't know how many years ago, 12 years ago or something like that. But it was worth it. All right, we have our next call on the line. Hey, who's joining us this evening?
What's up, Mike? It's Jason.
Jason, what is going on? So you didn't get a chance to go over to the Kingdom today and ride next to Jalen Hurts on Tron, huh?
No, we didn't get a chance to go out. That would have been fun, though.
Yeah, it would have.
There would have been a lot of Philly fans, though, and however you feel about them, that would have been an interesting time.
Do you think they greased the poles on Main Street USA? That's the question.
You got to grease the poles. Have to grease the poles.
I know. Sorry. I'm dehydrated. I had to get a soda. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like when the Disney company saw that, in the second quarter, this thing was going to be a done deal and the Eagles were going to win. They're like, oh, dude, we got to order some grease.
They just had Disney security watch videos of like past Philadelphia sports events and what happens, and they're like, all right, we got to figure something out.
For real. They were rooting for the Chiefs. Like, oh my God, the Philly fans are going to burn this place down tomorrow. 'Cause they win stuff and like the whole town gets burned. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, and Philly fans, I'm not dogging on you. I'm just saying, like, you guys, when you win, you just like destroy stuff. you flip dump trucks
They go
and everything.
crazy. They know how to have a good time, I guess.
I guess. Is that a good time? I guess it is. I've never flipped a dump truck. Maybe it's fun. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, what's going on? Oh yeah, what's your restaurant? Veronica said she has one.
Okay, so I'm going to go with our number one option. This is something that we've done multiple times. It's always a great time. The quick service is Casey's. And what you do is you get your order and you go to the Hubgrass and have yourself a little picnic.
Oh, look at that. I like it. Yes. It's almost like you're like almost in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway a little bit there, kind of reenacting the scenes.
It is like the final scene. You just gotta get a little guitar and start strumming along.
It's also better post fireworks. So after Happily Ever After, when the park clears out, and you do it at like 10:30, like the last like call for Casey's.
Oh.
It's great time. The park is empty. You have it all to yourself.
You got the background music playing. I know that wouldn't work for your eating schedule, Mike, but
No,
it's
that'd be
a
almost
great time.
breakfast. Yeah, that'd be almost breakfast for me. But man, that sounds really, really good. See, I get the corn dog nuggets and dip them in the cheese. Oh, that'd be so good.
That's killer. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I wouldn't be able to get up at 10:30 at night off the hub grass. I'd need help. I'd be locked up. But I'd give it a shot.
Not gonna lie, it does get a little effort to get back on your feet, but it's definitely a fun time.
Exactly. So what else on your mind? What do you think about Skywalker coming to Disneyland out at Galaxy's Edge, or that article about the cost of Disney vacations, or anything else on your guys' mind tonight?
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome that Luke's coming. I mean, it'd be nice if it came down here too. That would be fun. I think they definitely need to rework the whole keeping to the timeline thing, or whatever, the rules they set for themselves for Galaxy's Edge. Start bringing in like Luke, bring in Darth Vader, bring in characters from the prequels. I just feel like I feel like they started off kind of cutting their own hand off a little bit and kind of, robbing themselves of opportunities. So I think it's nice to see him coming, and, it's exciting to see who will be coming in the future.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I was down there when it opened in September of 2019. And the thing is too, I hate to say this, but I mean, it's almost gotten a little bit stale because we've all gone there so many times and it's the same experience. And when you look at the wait times for like Smuggler's Run, it's an average to below average experience at this time. I mean, you look at that on either coast, you're talking, you can typically get on Smuggler's Run in like 20, 25, 30 minutes. And I think that if you would have asked like Disney, back in, pre-COVID when it came out, they probably would have guessed that was like a high e-ticket, probably almost on the order of like a Rise of the Resistance, probably not as attractive, but close. And, to me, that's on the order of like, I would say Smuggler's Run is probably on the equivalent of like maybe a Star Tours experience now. It's not high demand. And so there's only one big draw to the land at this point. So they got to do something with that big piece of property.
Yeah, no, it kind of does feel like it's just, it needs a little bit of an expansion, whether that is a whole new ride, a show, maybe a restaurant, something.
Yes.
Like it. I think there just needs to be something injected there, because like you said, it has been a while since it's opened. And yeah, I mean, Smuggler's Run, I feel like whenever we're, walking through Batuu, it's normally a low wait time. I mean, I can't imagine some people, I don't think I personally would want to go on it, because I feel like that'll take me out in terms of motion sickness.
It's same for me. It's the same for me. I can't do it. It's a simulator. And and I think a lot of people are getting there. I can't do Star Tours either. And I've done it a few times. And the shame is, like, I love the queue. I love being able to sit at the chessboard. I love being inside the environment of the Millennium Falcon. I love getting in the cockpit, because that's like the most epic picture. And I've done it a few times just to get the picture and like try to hold on and be just a gunner and try not to, look at the screens too much. And I can get through it, but it's not great. But it's not worth the hassle to take the chance of not feeling well. And it's just, you're right. There's like, I just think maybe they need to bring like a character, because Scott did way back in the day. They had like a character breakfast I think it was at Sci-Fi, with like Vader and I heard like some stormtroopers and stuff. I think it was during, I don't know if it, I don't even think it was during Star Wars weekends or whatever, but like, I just don't understand why we don't have a Toy Story character meal and why we don't have a Star Wars character meal if they own the properties, because I just think that is printing money. And yeah, bring a restaurant. They have the land, like go for it. Like it seems like they're like 85% of the way there, but man, they could do just a little bit more to really crank it up. It's getting stale.
I agree. I think it also just goes back to them kind of cutting their own hand off with the keeping to the sequels and stuff, when there's just so much more that they could do with the original trilogy, with prequels. And, it's Disney. They can figure out a way to make it so that all the timelines are interacting, or kind of give us a reason why that's going on. And, I think people would appreciate it. So
I was gonna say, at the end of the day, I don't even think it matters too much. Like, I get they're trying to tell a story, but like at the end of the day, people are just going to the parks to see characters and have a good time. And if they, want to see like Anakin Skywalker, like, why is it a problem to have them in Batuu? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what I was gonna say, Veronica, because I think that because again, I'm kind of casual. Like, I mean, I grew up with like the main movies, like 4, 5, and 6, and then I got excited when the prequels came out, and then I got excited again when 7, 8, 9 came out. But that's like my scope is those 9 movies. But that's exactly how I'm thinking is what Veronica just said, is that for 90% of the people, they're on vacation and they want to have a good time. And when they go home, they're going to be excited that they got a picture with Darth Vader. They got a picture with Luke Skywalker. And I think what's happening within the Disney company is like, you can never absolutely ever have a situation where Luke Skywalker is in the same like line of sight with like Grogu or so, even though like maybe they were in the Mandalorian. I think they were in the same like episode or something, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, these timelines can never cross, you can't have this person in this land. And you know what? It's all make believe. Like, this never happened. Like, this is all fiction, so like it's a vacation. It's somewhere to have fun. Let's cut loose a little bit and let everybody have their pictures, let everybody have their fun and not take it so dang seriously. It's just a
Agreed.
fake land.
Especially
what I'm
for
saying?
Star Wars, which is a universe very notoriously known for like having wacky rules or
Yes.
George Lucas explaining something that's just like, because it's my story, So it's like, it's the perfect universe for that.
Yeah, I agree. Veronica's right on there. People are just there on vacations with, crazy Star Wars shirts on. If they want to meet Chewbacca here, Grogu there, and Luke there, boom, let it happen. I mean, come on now. It's fine. But the serious Star Wars people might have a problem with it, but they're in the minority.
Yeah, I feel like they could get over it, especially when they get there themselves and see those opportunities. They'll be like, you know what? This is totally fine. Like, I'm good with this.
I mean, yeah, Luke would be cool. I'm not trying to be mean to the serious Star Wars people, but I mean, do you not want the opportunity to meet Luke Skywalker? I mean, I think that's a
what
win.
I'm saying, yeah.
That's a win. That's Luke. Like, I mean, he was the one that started in 77. Oh, that'd be so cool. But we'll see. I don't know. So what? You guys are locals, so you guys don't have to. You do stay in the hotels occasionally, like you guys stayed at the Tower of the Polynesian, not too long ago, and that was awesome to celebrate your anniversary. What did you? I don't know if you had the chance to dive into that article, those postings on social media about the cost of Disney vacations and kind of the inflationary response and all that went back and forth. But what do you think about what was brought up about all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see, where some people are coming from with how, expensive it can get when it comes to hotels and then theme park tickets, and then you got to factor in food. And then I did think the biggest thing that people talk about is Lightning Lane and having, the ability to purchase that. And I think some people, get hung up on Lightning Lane, and some people may think of it as a necessity, and it can be in some cases, but in other cases, I don't think it is. And I think that, that added cost has definitely, affected people. But to me, I think the biggest thing is I think people are still going to obviously come to Disney World because it's Disney World. But the question is whether people are going to continue coming to Disney World. And I think that's where this driving cost, these costs going up, I think that's where you'll see people kind of take that, one trip to Disney and then be like, ooh, that was a lot of money. And then if they don't feel like their experience was, worth the value, they're not going to come back. So, short-term Disney is going to get their money, but long-term, are people going to continue to come back? And I think that's the biggest question that Disney has for themselves.
That's a great point, because Disney has always been built on nostalgia, right? Like, you went as a kid, and then, because I mean, think about our trip reports on Mondays. A lot of times it's like you always hear guests, because again, we're skewed to the huge Disney fan who probably their parents might have been, but not always. I mean, a lot of like I didn't go as a kid, but you'll hear like, oh yeah, when as a 10-year-old, then we went, every other year or whatever. And so you had that opportunity to return, but if it's super expensive, it could turn into a once in a every 10-year trip. And that's the whole thing. And I do want to have a live call-in show. Maybe we'll do it Sunday night, where the topic is solely is Lightning Lane necessary on a Disney vacation? And just have that debate. Like, if that's because it means different things to different people, especially like you guys are local, and like it means something different to me. I'm an AP holder who goes, a lot of times 3 or 4 times a year, but a lot of times it's for a race. And I'm not a big attractions person. Like and when I am, it's like living with the land, the people mover, the carousel of progress, like, not even Lightning Lane experiences really. And people ask me, because, I work as a travel agent, like, how much is Lightning Lane this day? And I'll be like, I don't even pay attention to it because I never buy it. And when I do at Disneyland, I just build it into the package price, pay for it way in advance. And I never even see it because it's already paid for, but it's a good value at Disneyland, I think, because I use it so much because there's such a density of attractions and I never get to go out there hardly. So, it is a big deal out there. I do a ton of attractions there compared to World, where I just sit around and eat and talk to people. I don't know. I mean, you're right. Disney needs to make sure that people want to come back and hopefully come back annually, or at least like biannually, or every other year, not twice a year, or hopefully twice a year if they're lucky. But yeah, you don't want people to come. The thing is, like, and I've heard other podcasts, Jim Hill talks about this, like, you don't want to have people go home and the narrative be, God, it was so expensive. You know what I'm saying? Instead, you want people to go home and evangelize and say, that Tron coaster was amazing. Or when I went to Pandora, it was beautiful. You should have seen the hotel pool. It was so much fun. The kids wouldn't get out of the pool. That's what the narrative needs to be when you get back to Iowa, rather than we got nickel and dimed on everything we did. I think that's the bottom line with all this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking is, you want that feeling to be like, I want to go back again. We didn't get to do this ride. This is, this restaurant or whatever. That's what I want to do next time. And you start thinking about your next vacation. And then, sooner or later you book it and you go back. And then that's how you sort of develop that Disney fandom, where I feel like some people might leave their vacation and go, oh, man, that was this much money. We spent this much money. And you're looking at your statement and you think like, oh, it was fun, but we'll see when we go next. And then out of sight, out of mind, you don't end up going for 5, 6, however many years. And, like I said, it's short term Disney, it's fine for Disney, but long term, if you're not getting those people that are coming back and discovering podcasts or Discords or something on Disney, then, how what's that fan base going to look like in 10, 15 years?
Great point. And I'll tell you what, just personally, like over the last 3-4 years, my bookings with the agency has turned to, it's almost flipped. I book a lot more Disney cruise than I do Walt Disney World. And I think it's because Disney Cruise Line, people are seeing the value in it because of everything being included in one price, right? You get your entertainment, you get your dining, you go to different locations every day. It's a premium experience, and Disney Cruise Line, again, is not a cheap experience. But I think people are seeing the value. Like, you're not having to buy Lightning. You're not being upcharged all the time. You're getting, you're getting like an all-in price. Okay, you go in, you get your price. This is what the cruise costs. Then, you got to pay gratuities. You got to pay for your alcohol. But I mean, if you don't drink, or, you're going to have to pay for alcohol wherever you are. But for the most part, what you're buying, what you're paying going in, like souvenirs and some port adventures and stuff like that when you get off the ship. But it's very similar to kind of what Disney World packages were 10 years ago. And I've seen kind of the savvy Disney traveler, like my veteran Walt Disney World travelers, start to dabble into Disney Cruise Line and really enjoy that experience. It's really interesting.
Yeah, no, I'll read around, forums or whatever, just, I like Googling. And I feel like I see a lot of people have that exact same thought where they say, Disney Cruise Line is where the value really is and where that, vintage Disney experience is nowadays. And I could totally see how you guys get more, cruise bookings now versus, Walt Disney World or Disneyland or anything like that, or Disneyland or anything like that. So I could totally see that. And
it is interesting.
We definitely have to email you soon about Disney cruise.
We
want to get on a ship.
We'll get you out. We got to all get on the ship at the same time. We'd have the best cruise ever. But it's been good talking to you guys. Thanks for wrapping the show up with us, Vern. Have a good week as well. And I gotta see you guys when I get down there. Hopefully in March we'll have to get together when I'm down there for the Give Kids the World show.
Yeah, 100%. And we're down to volunteer too. If there's opportunities, we're happy to help out.
Yeah, we're registered with Give Kids the World already too, if they need all that. So.
All right. We'll make it happen because we're going to volunteer on that Friday the 7th, which is my wife's birthday, which I'm going to be in big trouble. But I know it's terrible. So yeah, I'll let you know because Pam is finalizing all that stuff. She's the point person on that. So when she gets back, I will have more information on that because I think she's working while she's down there on that this week.
Oh, that sounds awesome. We'll be there.
All right. Well, you guys take care and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you, my
man.
All right.
See you guys. Bye-bye. All right. So that is going to do it for today's live call-in show. Thank you for joining me over the last hour. I love doing these live call-in shows. It's like the radio, but it's a Disney station, right? So much fun. So we'll do this again Sunday night. Scott will be joining me. We could talk about his Wish cruise. He just sailed the Disney Wish to the Bahamas. Took some first-timers, his in-laws. We can get his thoughts on what they thought of Disney Cruise Line. Because they've sailed other cruise lines, but never Disney Cruise Line. So I'm very curious about that. He also stayed at Coronado before the cruise, and I saw that he had Sanaa before he went to the airport. So living life right, that Mr. Scotty G. All right, don't forget our show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you get to your favorite Disney destination, whether it's Disneyland, Walt Disney World, or sailing with the Disney Cruise Line. No additional cost to you to engage all of our awesome services and get little booking bonuses along the way, like onboard credits with Disney Cruise Line. So check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make this show possible. So thank you so very much to you. We couldn't do this without your support. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. So come on over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give me a follow on the social media. I'm at BeOurGuestMike on Instagram, X, and Threads. And I'll be looking for you over there. And most importantly, come on over to our little Cheers. It's our little clubhouse. It's where we all hang out 24/7, 365. Jason and Vern, always there. He's always there chiming in with some fun stuff. And we just hang out. We talk Disney. We talk life. We talk sports. We talk there's a channel for everything. And it's absolutely free for everybody. It's so cool. So just come on over. We're looking for you. Just swing by beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse today. And I'll welcome you personally. All right. We're going to get out of here, but we'll be back again tomorrow with a fun show. Pam and I, we're there. We got a Valentine's special if you're listening on the feed. So be ready for that. There was a lot of laughs on that show. We had a good time recording it because Scott and Ricky were gone. So we had to take over we had to be Cupid this year. So it was a fun show. So I hope you enjoy it tomorrow. All right. So for Scott, Ricky, and Pam, who are all having more fun than I am, not really. I'm in the Be Our Guest Podcast studios. I'm having a blast. This is my toy shop. So, hey, I'm having fun with you guys. So until we talk again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.